Hello everybody and welcome to another video. If you enjoy it, hit the thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out and lets more people see the video. Subscribe to the channel for more writing, book marketing, and crime fiction content. And comment down below with any questions or just to say hey. I will reply to comments. So let's get into it. Today I want to talk to you about the most important step in your marketing, which is the research, right? This is the homework we have to do that will influence everything else that comes in our marketing. Every step of the process after this is going to be based on what we learn right here in the research, okay? This is where we find out who our audience is. If you remember from the last video in this series, we talked all about the order of importance of the different steps of marketing. And audience was number one, right? So research tells us who they are and where they hang out. It's going to tell us the big idea of our marketing. It's going to tell us the irresistible offer to make, the emotions to play up, right? The emotional pull we're going to use. It's going to tell us what marketing arguments to make, right? The logical push that we need. And all of that is going to influence the copy, the actual marketing materials themselves. We covered all of these things in the last video, and it all goes back to this right here, the research. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to go about doing it. And the first place you want to look are your competitors' books, okay? Or in the book world, they're more like comparisons, because to be honest, the market for authors is not one of competition. It's much more cooperative, in fact, than that. Publishers may compete with each other, but there's so many readers out there that you don't have any like rivalry-style competitions between authors, which is nice. It makes the industry a very pleasant one to be in. So comparison might be a better word. We're just going to call them comps. Now, if you aspire to be traditionally published and get an agent, they're going to ask for a list of comps anyway, so this is good to know for that regardless. And so what I want you to do is come up with 5 to 7 comps, preferably authors, and you're going to look through all of their books, right? So 5 to 7 authors. And the way you tell if they're a comp is if they provide the same kind of value that you provide, right? There's the buzzword on this channel, value. It all comes back to that. So your competitors, your comparisons will provide the same kind of value that you do. And you want to start with them because their audience is the same audience that you're going for. So remember, audience is the first thing you need to figure out. And so if you go to the people who read their books, the people who are looking for the value they're providing, and it's the same value that you're providing, there's your audience right there. There's your target market. So what you want to do is look at reviews for those authors. Go onto Amazon, go onto Goodreads, go anywhere where there are reviews and look for the positives people are talking about and the negatives. Now from the positives, you can learn the promises that those authors are making and that the genre as a whole, the category as a whole, will make. Right? These are the things that people are getting from those authors. And that can help you figure out the promise of your big idea. Because remember, the big idea is made up of the promise plus the unique mechanism. The promise is what the entire category is all about, the experience that that category promises. The unique mechanism is your individual take on that promise and on that category. And you want to look at the negatives to find that. What are the things that those authors' audiences are not getting from them that they might just get from you, right? You want to look at the negative comments the bad things that people are talking about, the things they're not getting from those books, and see if you're providing it, and that makes a really killer unique mechanism, right? You can make the thing that allows you to stand out be something that fixes a pain point that this audience has with the authors that they follow, okay? So by looking at your competitors, you can validate your big idea. You get your promise from the positive reviews. You might just find your unique mechanism from the negative reviews. And remember, the unique mechanism could be something that's already inherent to your writing, like setting, style, anything like that. Or it could be something that people aren't getting from your comparison authors that you're going to highlight in your marketing. You're going to fill a gap in the marketplace, something that the fans of that category want but aren't getting. So think about that when you're coming up with your big idea, and let your research influence what big idea you choose to communicate with your marketing. Okay? So then the next thing you want to do, once you look at your competitors' big ideas and get your promise and your mechanism, is do product research. Look at their books and their marketing, the marketing that surrounds those books, and find out what are their hooks. What promises and unique mechanisms are they using in their marketing? What are those authors known for, and how do they let people know about it? Right? What are their guarantees, their claims, their arguments that tell you that they're going to back up those hooks? Okay? What offers, irresistible offers, are those comparison authors making? And are they working? What are people saying about them in the reviews, right? Is it positive feedback? And how about the negative feedback? Right? And you can learn a lot about what kind of emotional pulls work for them and for this kind of audience, and what kind of logical pushes work. And that brings us to the most important part. The prospect research. This is where you're going to be spending most of your time, because this is focusing on the audience itself, the actual people who are going to be reading your book. And to do this, I recommend you do an empathy map. Okay? An empathy map looks like this. I'll draw it. The point of it is to go beyond demographics. Imagine that's a straight line for me. Okay? Because demographics are nice in marketing, but you want to go deeper. And this is how you do that. So you have kind of this little thing right here. There's often a happy face in the middle, right? This is the basic form. Right here, what do your prospects think and feel? Okay? What are their fears and their goals? What do they want to get out of their reading experience, right? What do they see? Okay? What do they see in the book buying market? What are the trends going on right now? What does the marketplace look like to a reader? And again, that can help you figure out what your promise needs to be, and then how to stand out in that marketplace, right? What can you show them that they're not seeing, while at the same time give them the experience that they're looking for? What does your prospect say and do? Okay. What do they say about products like yours? What are they saying about those comparison authors? And what do they do in the reading process? How do they like to read? What format do they like? Okay. When do they read? When during the day? You know, do they fit it in late at night before they go to bed? And they have a problem setting their books down because they always want to read one more chapter? Or do they try to squeeze time in during the middle of the day in between things that they're doing to pull up their current book on their phone, on their Kindle app, right? Then what do they hear? Okay. What do they hear from others about the kind of book that you're putting out there? What do they hear about your comparison authors? What are they going to hear about you, right? And I'll tell you that social media plays a big role in this one, what they hear and what they see. And both of these play a role in how they think and feel. So you want to know all of this really, really well. And then there are two more down here that will hit. Right? What are their pain points? Okay? What are their fears with the products? What problem are you solving with your book, right? Are you entertaining them? Are you educating them? What does your book do for them? Does it alleviate any kind of pain in their experience in their life, right? For nonfiction, this is a big one. If you're having a how to solve a problem, you want to be focused on this right here. What I'm doing with this channel is focusing on the pain point for authors who need to jumpstart their book marketing, right? Their pain point is their marketing isn't performing like they would prefer. And so I'm targeting to an audience that has this pain point, trying to help them with it. And that brings us to gain. What will the prospect gain from this product? Okay. And the emotional pull is one of the things that they'll get, right? The experience of reading. What's it going to do for them? Now again, for nonfiction, what they're going to gain is this pain is going to go away. You're going to give them an answer to their problem. And the question here, you want to imagine one of these prospects saying, if I could just ... If I could just something, my pain would go away, right? And what you want them to gain from what you're putting out there, the value that you want to give them, is the thing that if they could just get that value, their problem would go away. And again, perhaps that's more helpful for nonfiction writers out there. But it applies to fiction writers too. You know, lack of being entertained, as goofy as that might sound, as a problem, is a problem. And your book, if it's an entertaining read, meant to be entertaining, might just fix that. If you're writing a deeper kind of fiction that has social commentary, that's meant to change people's mindsets, right? Maybe the pain is lack of awareness of an issue. And what they're going to gain from reading your book, the value they're going to get, is awareness. Okay. I know a lot of literary writers have that as one of their goals going into writing a book. They want to raise awareness. They want to change mindsets. They want to use their fiction to change the world. Well, there you go. Pain and gain. And you want to use this empathy map to really understand your prospective readers. This goes deeper than basic demographics. This is really getting into their psyche, into their emotions, into their lives, into their pain points, right? What do they think and feel? What are they seeing? What do they say and do? What do they hear? What's their pain? And what will be their gain? Okay? Demographics are useful for marketing, and of course they are. But you don't want to just lean on those. That's a mistake that a lot of authors make. They think if they figure out, you know, oh, the book market is comprised 70% of women, and their ages, you know, whatever the age group is for your category. If they think that if they know that, they're set. And the truth is that's not the whole story, right? This is even, I would say, a much more important part. because you're figuring out how your book is going to play in people's lives, right? And again, if you can solve a problem and provide value, there's that buzzword again, value, your marketing is going to be way more effective than if you're just going off numbers and ages and all of that. Okay. Now, the other thing to think about here, and this is an advantage that authors have that perhaps other kinds of businesses don't, is that we usually are members of the audience we're trying to attract. Because typically, not always, but typically, authors are fans of the category of fiction that we write in, right? I'm a huge crime fiction fan, and that's why I write crime fiction. I know people who are huge readers of literature, and they read the kind of books that they write. They read kind of books that the goal is to change the world or change someone's mindset and raise awareness, okay? And so that's what they write. So once you go through and do this for your market, ask yourself these questions. What do you think and feel? What do you see? What do you say and do when you read? What are you hearing about the kind of books that you consider buying? What are your pain points as a reader? And what do you hope to gain from the books that you read? Chances are you are a fan of the audience you're trying to attract. So don't just rely on your own answers to these questions, but definitely don't forget to ask yourself these same questions, because you can get a lot of useful data just by doing some self-examination. Okay? So where are some places to look for this kind of research? Now that you know what to do and what to look for, where are you going to look? Well, I've already talked about reviews. Let's clear the whole page. I've already talked about reviews on Amazon, right? Probably the best place to look. Goodreads. You can look at message boards. Forums and chat rooms. Subreddits. Reddit is a really good resource because there's a subreddit for pretty much every topic. So see if there's one for your category. Okay? And you can come up with more than just this. But go on all these places and see what people are saying about your comparison authors, your comps. Okay? And again, look for the positive. What do they like? And the negative. What promises are they looking for? Okay. And what are they not getting that maybe you provide, right? Look for the promise that's going to make up the promise of your marketing in your big idea, and look for your unique mechanism in what's not being provided in the market, the thing that's going to make you stand out and satisfy a pain point people are talking about. Okay? Now, some people are inclined to do surveys, right? They'll put together a questionnaire and they'll go onto Reddit or the forums and they'll ask people to fill it out. My opinion is don't do that. First of all, if you're not a member of these communities and you're not active, it's going to annoy people if you just go on there and start playing 20 questions with them, okay? That's number one, right? The second thing is you're going to get canned answers by doing a survey. You're going to get people saying what they think is a good survey answer instead of being honest. What you want is information that comes from prospects speaking openly and unsolicited. Okay? You want their natural opinions on things. And the best way to do that is to become active in these communities, right? And just spend some time. Go read the reviews on Amazon on multiple books that are comp titles for yours. join Goodreads and join in some of the discussions in groups. They have groups for subcategories of fiction, for genres, for different authors. They have all kinds of groups. Go in there, find groups that you think would fit into your audience, see what they're talking about, and join the discussion. Remember, you are a fan of your category of fiction, probably, so you can converse with other fans about what you like and dislike about that category. Do the same on message boards, forums. Facebook groups is another one I forgot to put on this list. All right, I'm going to say FB. Get a Reddit account. Do the same thing with the subreddits. Spend some time really conversing with people and really observing. See what they say, again, when they're speaking openly and unsolicited. You want candid responses, not canned responses. Okay? And this takes time. This is not something you're going to do in 2 hours, one day, right? I recommend spending a couple of weeks every day getting onto these different places and even finding more than these and doing your homework. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is the work that you're going to be doing, right? And it's the most important work, because if you can get these opinions, you can get this information, it's going to be the basis for the rest of your marketing, right? Your big idea, your offer, your arguments, your copy, all of it is going to come back to this research that you're doing. That's why this is so important. That's why you have to be willing to do this work. Doing the work is what's going to separate an author that can't get their marketing going from an author that goes on to make a living with their books. Okay? So use all of this to find your place in the market. Is your promise the one that readers of your category are looking for? Okay? Is your unique mechanism actually something that's going to make you stand out? Is it something that readers want and are not getting currently? Are you going to fill a space in this market while at the same time delivering on the promise and the experience that these readers are looking for? This will tell you that. This will give you that answer. But again, you have to be willing to do the work. And I keep repeating that because it's a very important thing. A lot of authors, understandably so, are not crazy about how much marketing we have to do in this day and age. Even traditionally published authors have to do a tremendous amount of marketing, especially long term, right? If you have a publisher and you are a lead title for the season, you're going to get plenty of support in the short term. But if you're not a lead title for that season, and even if you are, in the long run, you're not going to get the kind of support that you would hope. Okay, it's just the reality of how the industry is right now. So you have to know how to do this. You have to do the research. It doesn't matter how you're published. This is what's going to set you apart and help you potentially make a living, okay, as a writer. My personal goal is to do that, because if I can write more and produce more, here's that favorite word again, value for my audience. All right? My goal as a writer is to be able to write more and be read more. But to do that, I need to know how to make long-term marketing work. And this is it. Research. Doing the work. Okay? So a little bit more about finding your place in the market. You need to figure out what your prospect's awareness is, okay, about your product, right? Now, for marketing other products, you kind of have a spectrum here. Okay, we'll keep it simple diagrams. 1, 2. That's a 2, I promise. 4, 5. Okay. So there's a spectrum of awareness, right? And it goes from not even aware of what they want to very aware. Okay. So some people aren't even aware of the problem they have, the pain points they have, right? And some people are very aware of their problems and the products that can help. Okay. Now, I would say most of the book buying public is aware of what kind of book they like, right? They're out there actively looking for more of the category of fiction they enjoy. So they're aware of what we would say the problem is, not having another book to read, right? For other products, the problem, especially for nonfiction, would be not being able to do something, needing to learn something, But for books, for fiction, it's basically just not having something else to read is the problem. Okay. Problem's not the best term for it, but it's the term used in marketing, so we're going to stick with it. So you want to know where on this awareness spectrum people are with your book, right? And typically it'll be somewhere in the middle, right? They're aware that they want another book, but they're not aware of you. So they're aware of their problem, they need another book, not aware of you. And so you need to make them aware. And it's important to know the spectrum because you're going to tailor your messaging a little bit to each of these. Okay? The copy you're going to use, for instance, for someone who's in this side of the spectrum is going to be very different from someone who's here, who's going to be different from someone who's aware of both you and their problem, right? And we often designate this as cold traffic, warm traffic, and hot traffic. So this is the coldest kind of traffic you can find. They're not aware of their problem and they're not aware of you, right? So you have to educate them on the fact that you exist and that you have the value that they're looking for. Now again, most book buyers are beyond this point. They are consciously looking for their next book. They're just not aware of you, right? So they're warm. You need to make them aware of you, right? That's the main goal, and this is where new customer acquisition comes in. And we'll talk about that in a future video when we start getting into concepts like funnels and things like that. And then people who are very aware that they need a new book, and they're very aware of you, probably on your list already, and they're hot traffic. Okay? And these terms should be familiar to you because we get things like cold calling from this. Okay? And the hotter the temperature of the traffic, the easier it is to get them to buy a book from you. And again, we'll dive into this more in future videos. But when you're doing your research, you want to kind of look for these groups, the spectrum of awareness within your target audience, right? Who are the people who are unaware? Who are the people who know that they're looking for a book in your category, but they just haven't heard of you, which is, again, probably going to be most of the people you're trying to acquire. And then once you build up a list and get people onto your mailing list and all that, how can you retain them and keep them very aware, keep them hot traffic so you can sell to them long term, right? But all of that starts when you're analyzing your audience and your market in your research. So that's the gist of that. But it all comes down to this, and I'll say it again. Do the work. Don't be resistant to marketing and to research, because this is going to make the difference right here. And it should be fun, right? When we were talking about getting into chat rooms and getting onto subreddits and Facebook groups and having conversations with people, you're talking about your favorite category of fiction, right? Enjoy it. Don't make it a chore in your head. Go in it with a positive attitude. Learn as much as you can and have fun talking to people about something you love, right? Because that is what you have in common with your audience. You all love the value that your category provides. And you're doing this research not because marketing is scammy or because you're going to sell them something they don't want, right? That's not what this is about. You're doing this research so that you can tell them that you have the value that they're looking for, that you are also looking for as a reader, right? So approach it that way. Have a positive attitude about it. Don't be resistant to marketing, and do the work. Put in the time to do your research, because it is the most important step of the book marketing process. And that's the message for today. So if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe for more cool content like this. Like I said, in future videos, we're going to be getting into now some of the techniques like funnels, like email marketing, right? How to sell books in the digital age with online marketing, which is the way it's going, man. Ebooks are getting more and more popular. I think most of the books sold now. Well, I think it's about even ebook and print, but we'll be talking about how online sales can be really, really good for your long-term success as an author, right? Your long-term business. In the meantime, comment down below with any questions you have. I will reply to the comments. And follow me on Twitter at MichaelSantosAuthor. I tweet out daily marketing tips and talk about the writing process and my own writing. So that's the video for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you next time.